Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's me again, it's Gorilla, and welcome back to What If Bell was the son of a warden and a peacekeeper. Now, I read the comments and shout out to this one individual whose name's on screen now. I will not risk saying it because I may butcher it to high hell. So apologies. And I had to quickly re-watch my own video just to catch up on where I was. And the comment was to yes, let Bell forgive. So that's what I will be doing. If you guys didn't want me to let Bell forgive, sorry, you should have typed that down in the comments. And yeah, let's go on with it. A few hours before Bell truly apologises, as he is currently walking around Avario, as he visits places, just trying to work his way around the whole entire area. As he, well, feels that someone is watching him. As every few minutes, around about 10 to 20 or 15, he would turn around to see if there's anybody following him. Which he doesn't actually see anybody, but he still gets the very anxious feeling that he's being followed. As he would just continue walking around, stop to help a few people out with some boxes. As he, well, that helps them out. They give him a few valises, well, try to give him a few valises for the help, as he would decline, saying, I'm only doing it because it looked like you guys needed help. I didn't do it for Valis. I only did it to help. As he would walk away, with the people he helped out waving to him, saying thank you, as he would put his hand up in your welcome motion. As eventually he would actually walk out of Aurelio, because he still has the feeling he's being followed. As he walks upon a lake, well, a river with a lake next to, very close by. As he would stand there, as out of nowhere he would get flashbacks of a palace crying, of him crying, as his mother would be holding him in her arms, as she would just say, welcome to the world, my son. As he would get more flashbacks of his childhood as an infant, as he would hear the sounds of combat, with his mother next to him writing a letter, as it would skip like a few hours, as he would see the agents of death, as they would say, please, someone stop us, save him, get him away from here, please, we do not want to kill him, please, someone. Yes, well, he would be, he would hear someone get punched, as he would also still hear, what are you doing to a baby? As he would recognise the voice as Mamma Mia. As he opens his eyes to see Mamma Mia, she says the same things in what I said, as he goes through everything much childhood, as he would get snapped out of it by somebody shouting Bell. As he would sort of shake his head, as he would see eyes. As Bell would say, just stare at her for a few minutes, as she would stare at him, with her then eventually saying, Bell, what are you doing out here? It's not safe. As Bell would say, just trying to lure people out of hiding, because I have a feeling I'm being watched. And I still feel like I'm being watched, even here, right now. You? Bell, to all circumstances, there's no one here. I came running out here because I saw you come out here. And that's it. Nobody else is around. Not unless you are just insecure about something. I'm not insecure, Eyes. I'm just curious and sort of on edge. Let's do to hear it back. As Bell would grab his hilt of his sword to only realise that it's Delta. As Delta would actually run up to him, growl, then get a whiff. As Delta would then run up to him and sort of jump on him, causing him to fall down into the river, which causes Eyes to laugh. As he gets out, he has a slight inkling of two individuals as they talk to him within his own head. Bell, be aware, something's going on. If you felt like you were being watched, that was because it was us two watching you. Be aware, something's off in Arario. Please, stay on your toes. Listen to me, boy, and listen to me well. What Athena says is true. We may not be welcoming at Rario anymore, but we know damn well when something's off about that place. There may be something far more dangerous there than the gods nowadays. So please, be careful. We'll always be watching you. As, well, they would fade from his mind. So a few days later, Bell goes into the dungeon, even though he hasn't got a familiar yet. Isn't it a familiar? Sorry. As he would see a young girl running, as she would be eventually cornered by a minotaur. As the same thing happens in canon, but instead of Belle, it's this girl. As she has to duck underneath a fist as it smashes against the wall. As it continues smashing the wall, trying to get to her, she sees Belle approach, slicing the Achilles heel, or the tendon in the back of the leg, causing the Minotaur to fall onto one knee, basically doing the same thing in canon like Eyes Wallenstein did, but this time not having a face to sort of look at, to be sort of or hot and bothered by, as Bell kind of was in canon if you didn't realise. Yes, well, the Minotaur would try and swing at Bell, with Bell cutting its arm off from literally the collarbone, as it would sort of screech in pain, as Bell would then sever its head from its neck, as it would go basically just go poof, leaving a crystal behind. As this girl would just sit there in awe as she could see the full battlement of this guy standing in front of her. Belle reaching down an arm saying, "Are you alright?" With her just getting up and running away without saying a word. With Belle just standing there saying, "Was it something I said? Or something?" As well. He eventually walks out, going straight down to, well, Mamma Mia's place. He looks in the window to see the same girl sitting right at the front. As he would walk in, everybody would stop and look at him as they would just get on with their meals. Well, Bet actually causing the girl some trouble with Eyes trying to stop him. As Belle would just walk up, grab Bet by the back of the neck, drag him out, and throw him. Be aware, it is night time. With Bet saying, "Oh yeah, you seriously want to chuck me out? I'm part of the Loki familiar. That should mean something to you." With him taking a closer look at Belle, realizing that the guy, well, he doesn't know it's Belle, noticing that the person who just chucked him out is covered in armor and actually has a few battle scars on his armor as well. So Bet decides it's a brilliant idea to try and have a fight. But considering he is drunk, he gets one tapped by Belle and he's out cold. With him then walking back inside. With Mamma Mia just saying, you didn't have to punch him to knock him out. He was that drunk, you could just literally let him take a swing and he'll just tumble over. Or tumble over like a sack of bricks. That guy drinks way too much. This girl would see Belle as she would go bright red, as Belle would then speak, saying, "Huh, so you're going to speak to me this time and not run away like a little chicken?" As Mamma would just look at her, saying, "You've met my boy?" As she would just say, "I didn't know he was your son." As she would just say, "He's my adopted son. I adopted him since he was a baby. I couldn't let him live in an orphanage, so I gave him a home. And once again, I'm sorry. Didn't want to lie to you for most of your life." As Belle would just say, "Don't worry about it, Mamma Mia. Don't worry about it. I forgive you. I had a talk with Eyes, and she convinced me to forgive you." And she would look over to Eyes, and Eyes would just nod. She would also say he's also offered to train me on how to wield a sword a lot better. By the way, ignore Bet in that image just now. As Mommy would just say, "Treat her well, Belle. Treat her well. I don't want to see her coming through here with an arm missing." As Belle would just say, I'm going to be using a stick. I'm not even going to be using a wooden sword, I'll just be using a stick." As Mamma Mia would say, "Yeah, but I bet you can swing that stick really harshly, so watch it. I don't want a poor girl coming home with an arm missing." As, well, the girl who Belle was talking to earlier gets up and runs out the door. As Belle would just sort of look, saying, "What's her problem?" His eyes would just say, "Don't know." I honestly don't know. Haven't seen her before. She was the same girl, Eyes Fallenstein, that I met in the dungeon. As everybody would sort of kind of choke, as they all know that he is not part of a familiar member, or a part of any familiar, as they would all say simultaneously, "How the hells did you survive the dungeon? You're level 0. As Belle would just say, "Skill, luck, enemies not being very smart." As well, Eyes would actually just quickly look at an image in a hand still that she walked out with. Belle would actually look at it over her shoulder, as he would say, "Why do you have the same image?" His Eyes would stuff it somewhere where no man would choose to dare put their hand, not unless they want to be called a perv. And she would just say, "None of your business at the minute, Belle. I'll let you try and figure that out, the reason why I got this. Trust me. When you figure that out, I'll tell you." As well, Belle was slowly putting 2 and 2 together. As he would just say, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Can I have the special, please? And I'm also renting a room." As well, the entire night goes by into the morning, with Mamma Mia sort of starting to make something to eat for Belle when he wakes up, along with a few people who have rented out the place. As she would see a customer walk in, as she would just say, "Sorry, sir, we ain't open at the minute." As this person would draw a sword, and Belle would hear shouting, saying, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Put down the sword. Get out." As he would rush down to see an agent of death. As this agent of death would just say, "Where is the boy? He's 18 years old, and I know he's here, 'cause I've watched him." As Eyes would walk in a few minutes later, saying, "Miss Mia, I'm here for work." "Who are you?" As Miss Mia would just say, "Eyes, run! Find any familiar members and..." As she would get cut. As Eyes would pull out a sword, or pull a short sword out of a sheath that she had on her, just in case. As this guy would just say, "Fine, die, rabble." As he would take a swing at Eyes, and her not really able to block it very well, as her sword bends but doesn't break, but it bends enough for his sword to actually cut into her arm. Be aware, she does not have her armor on, as she would just barely get out the way, or get the rest of her arm out the way, to launch a strike of her own, which nicks the guy's shoulder, and it's only a small scratch. As this guy would then, the agent of death, I should really say, would swing at her again and again and again, getting more and more vicious as he cuts her severely. Few around the arms and legs, and once over the stomach. As well, he was about to land the final blow on her, as Bell sort of rugby tackles him outside, breaking a window in the process, as he would land on the ground with this agent of death, as this agent would just punch Bell in the helmet, as Bell would roll off of him and get up. As this agent would grab his sword again, as he would do a sort of warden thing of putting his sword up to his chest, then just getting into a combat stance, with Bell adopting the same kind of stance he's always been taught. With, well, them circling each other, with eyes just crawling out of the doorway as she sees Hammer, fully armoured, as he rushes towards Bell. As Bell would just say, "Don't come to me! Get everybody out of here!" As he would see who Bell was up against, as he would say, "Bell! There's a Reaper, there's a agent of death! Get out of here!" As Bell would just shout, "No, I will not run from my problems." As this agent of death, don't know why I'm saying Reaper, sorry. So this agent of death would just smile underneath his helmet, as he would then speak, saying, "Boy, you have answered for a death wish." As they would actually start clashing, with Bell blocking mostly, still getting a few cuts in here and there by the agent of death, as they would clash, and, well, Hammer would get Eyes von Stein and Mamma Mia out of there. As well, everybody could see this fight, as Bell actually stabs the guy, as the guy just laughs, saying, "You're gonna have to try better than that to kill me." As he would then punch Bell in the face, even though he's got a helmet on, as he would continuously do that, just with, well, one hand, while the other one's still holding his sword. As, well, Bell and this agent of death would still continue fighting, with Bell actually starting to punch the guy as well, considering he can't actually get his sword out of the guy's, well, guts, basically. Well, the guy would just laugh maniacally, saying, "Come on, you call that a punch? This is a punch!" As he would then proceed to really punch Bell smack in the chest, which actually causes two of his ribs to shatter and puncture one of his lungs, his lung. As, well, he manages to pull the sword out of the guy's guts, as this guy would start walking towards Bell, still standing strong. As Bell would start gasping for air, he would swing at the Reaper of Death, actually managing to get a good cut on his leg, his left leg to be precise. As this agent of death would then stab Bell in the side of his arm, and then twisting it to dislocate it, with Bell actually screaming in pain. This is actually when Hestia and Loki appear, after having their own little spat, as usual. This battle actually catching their attention, as they both sort of walk over, or not walk, run over, because they heard someone scream in pain, which grabs. This is actually what grabs their attention, because if they didn't hear that sort of clashing and scream afterwards, they would have just continued on with their little spat. As they would appear, seeing, well, Bell getting holding his arm, even though he still has a sword in that arm, it just drops to the floor as Bell just grabs hold, saying, "Damn it! Damn! Shit!" As he pick up his sword with his other hand, as he would hold it in front of him, as this Reaper of Death, Agent of Death, not Reaper, god fucking damn it, as this Agent of Death would swing, with Bill clashing swords with him once more. As this time Bill severs one of his arms, then goes for the final strike, with this Agent of Death pulling out a dagger and stabbing it into Bell, as Bell relieves his relieves his neck of his head, as the guy just goes onto one knee and then falls to the side. As Bell would actually no, Bell gets stabbed but can't really sever the guy's head. As the guy kicks him to the ground using his bad leg, as the same thing that I said about him being stabbed. This is when this Agent of Death was about to stab him, as well. As he's about to, the sword he was carrying gets sent flying, gets held up by another one. As two girls rush in to aid Bell, as he would just say, while he's got one arm missing, "More cannon fodder. Why are you two meant to be?" As they would say, we're level 2 adventurers. Adventurers are weaker than they look if they have girls in their ranks. As he would actually swing, Tion grabs two daggers from, two short swords from Bell as she uses them, saying, "Wow, these things are heavy. A lot heavier than I thought. Hey, Tion?" As Tion swings at the Agent of Death with her own weapon, as he simply just drops his sword, grabs hers, and basically does what Darth Maul does. No, not what Darth Maul does. Just basically grabs it, pulls her towards him, then launches her own handle of a weapon into her face, basically smacking her with it. Sorry. Basically smacking Tion with the handle of her own double-bladed weapon, forcing her back as he would kick up his own sword into his good hand, as he would still fight with them. Tiana actually getting a solid strike on him, severing a few nerves in his good leg, so he can't really move anymore. As Tiana would slice across his back, severing the nerves to his lower body, as he would actually fall to the ground. As he would start saying, "What? This is impossible. How am I getting defeated? 15 years of combat. Not once defeated, but yet I'm being defeated by common girls. As they would say, both say simultaneously, we're level 2 adventurers, we're a lot powerfuler than you. As this guy would see Belle try and crawl towards him, as Belle would actually, stab him in the head as he would collapse. As he'd say, no, that dagger was poisoned. As, a few months pass with Belle being in a coma, with Hammer actually watching over him. As Hammer actually works double time to actually try and remove all of the poison. Which the poison was a very heavy toxin that could only be found in Westmarch. As he would finally just collapse off exhaustion after trying to save Belle's life from the poison. As a goddess would actually walk up to Belle and Hammer saying, I could save his life, but on one condition, he joins my familiar. With Hammer saying, but how much would this cost me? As this goddess would just say, it won't cost you a damn thing. Just let me take him. As he would just say, fine, but only for a year. Oh, this is a permanent arrangement. And don't question a god. We can do what we want. As Hammer sort of goes downstairs to get something to eat, as Mamma Mia is actually getting fully bandaged up, but she still requires some rest. As she would say, poor eyes, she hasn't turned up for work for the last few days. Must be still recovering from all the scars she's got. Oh, my arm. How are you doing, Hammer? As he would just say, never better. Never bloody better. Belle has officially become a familiar member now. Who? Don't know. They kept their head and body covered. As this goddess would actually walk down from upstairs saying, he'll be up in a few hours. You got most of the poison out over the last month. Good job. He's severely weak, but he should be up in a few hours. And she would, walk out saying, I'll be back later. You'll know who I am, who I was then, or who I am then. As everybody sort of waits for Belle to fully wake up. With Mamma Mia being very on edge. As Hammer is taking a cat nap, trying to get some sleep. As eventually somebody would walk back in. As it turns out to be Loki. At the same time, Belle actually walks downstairs. Not in his armour this time. As Belle would say, how long have I been out for? As Hammer would just virtually look up, saying, Bell, Bell, you're awake. With Mamma Mia looking over to him as well, and she actually hugs him, saying, oh, thank God you're alive. As Bell would just push her away, saying, thank you, Miss Mia, for helping, but I'm kind of still pretty weak at the minute. You doing that could almost kill me. And she would just say, oh, sorry. You're a lot tougher than that anyway, so that wouldn't have killed you. As well, Loki would sort of cough, saying, so, Belle, you're part of my familiar now. You can thank me for saving your life. With Belle sort of saying, what? Wait, why am I part of your familiar? Shouldn't I choose? If I could, shouldn't I be chosen by a natural god or goddess? With Loki saying, yeah, I am a goddess. My name's Loki of the Loki Familiar. Goddess Loki, to be precise. No offense, Loki, but I thought Loki was a man, not a woman. And she would just say, I'm the trickster god, so technically I am a woman. I'm not changing my gender to be a man, because there's no point. As Bill just scratches his head, saying, ugh, this is so goddamn confusing. As well, Hannah would say, Bill, you've been out for a month. And during that time, I've been trying my damn hardest to keep that poison in your body from spreading. It was only a few short hours away from entering your entire bloodstream through your heart. And it's like he would step up, saying, if it wasn't for me as well, you'd be out for nearly a full year. I virtually hurried up the entire process. And the reason why you're part of my familiar map now? It's because I didn't want Hestia to get a hold of you. She's already got one strong child. It's a running gag between me and her. She's always been weak, so might as well keep her weak. With eventually Eyes Von Stein walking in as she sees Belle, as she would stumble over her words, saying, but Belle, is that really you? As Belle would just say, yeah, a month out, a month in bed, a month bedridden due to being in a coma for a full month. So I'm a little bit more weaker than I used to be. With Eyes actually running over to him and actually, well, tackling him as she gives him one hell of a hug. As, well, let's just say this, that ribbon is not there, as she's wearing a different kind of a dress this time. As Belle could actually see, down it, as he goes bright red in the face, saying, Eyes, too close. I don't think they would have looked. I can't really help but look down because you've got my face near there. As Eyes wouldn't really pay attention to him, as she would just hug him even tighter. As eventually, after a full 5 minutes, she would let go, saying, sorry, but you really did have me worried. I was scared that you wouldn't wake up again. Belle would just say, for a stranger Eyes, you seem to know who I am very well. As Eyes would just say, well, I want to go train and I'm dragging you with me, so no matter what, get your armour on, weak or not. As everybody would sort of laugh, saying, even if he's in a coma, she'll most probably kick him to get him out of that coma just to go train. As Bell would just barely get his armour on. As he would just say, Eyes, go easy on me, would you? I'm still trying to heal, and plus I've had nothing to eat. As Mamma Mia would just say, you two go and practice on the wall, and I'll bring you something to eat. His eyes would smile, thank you, Miss Mia. As she would grab hold of Belle's arm to stop him from falling over, and she would just basically walk out with him. After they all leave, you could hear them all laughing their heads off, including Loki. His eyes would walk straight to the top of the battlements again with, Belle. As he would say, alright, we're at the top here. Oh, let go. As she just says, nope, I'm keeping hold of you just in case. Eyes, I'm not near the edge, you're the one near the edge. As Eyes would say, what do you mean? As he would then kick her from behind the leg, as she would start falling, as he would pull her towards the edge of the battlements, saying, I may be weak, but I can still somehow beat you. As, they would both begin training. A few hours in, Eyes Vonstein gets the upper hand, which forces Belle to actually go on the defensive. As Eyes was about to launch one attack, Belle grabbed her arm, punched her in the gut, making her stumble as he then removes the armor, saying, I can't move in that armor. Not now. Damn. Hope these wounds don't open up again. As he would remove it all, as it would all hit the ground, as he would move in, with Eyes recovering from her gut punch as she got delivered, as she would move in as well. With her actually being shocked of how athletic Belle is when he hasn't got the armor on. With her seeing that he actually went a lot lower to the ground to deliver an uppercut. As in her inner monologue, she would say, wow, impressive. Very impressive. But in Belle's mind, he has two foggy images of people talking to him, one male and female. As they both say simultaneously, son, focus, breathe, breathe in, breathe out, count, fight, learn, destroy, fight, win, survive. As Belle would start slowing down, as these images would start fading. With Eyes actually noticing this after they say one last word. As he would whisper it, as Eyes would stop, as she would actually ask him, Belle, are you okay? As Belle would sort of shake himself out of it, saying, yeah, I'm fine. Just getting a headache all of a sudden. His Eyes would actually, put a hand on his head, as she would say, well, you haven't got hot on you ain't hot on your head, so you may just be dehydrated. Miss Mia should be up here shortly delivering some food for us both. I'll let you rest for a bit or for a while. Then we will continue our training session. And by the way, Belle, I want to ask you something. With Belle just saying, yeah, what is it, Eyes? I should just say, why did you say love? As he would just say, I, what? What did I say? As Eyes would just say, you said love. Why would you say love in the middle of a fight? Or hell, in the middle of a combat test? For starters, Eyes, it's combat training, not a test. Honestly, as he grabs his own head, I don't know. I honestly don't know why. As they'd hear a word saying, dinner's ready, you two. I'll put it on the side here for you. As they would both say, thank you, Miss Mia. Right, they'll actually rubbing the top of his head. As Miss Mia would sort of cock a confused look, as she would just then shrug and walk away. As she would just shout, be careful with him, Eyes. Don't push him too far. As she would walk fully away, with Eyes then repeating herself, saying, Belle, you said love. As you said, we're in the middle of a training session, but you said love. Like you were new to the concept of it. Tell me, Belle, what's truly going on? I'm not stupid. I can tell when something's up. And you're just oozing like your mind is not fully here. It's somewhere else. As Bill would just say, you ain't gonna stop until I tell you, are you? Are you? As Eyes would just say, no, I'm not gonna stop until you tell me the truth. So please, Belle, tell me. As Belle just sighs, saying, you're impossible. But fine, I'll tell you. Remember when you found me at the river? Side going into that huge lake? Yeah, why? Started getting flashbacks from my past. For some odd reason, I remember a city. I don't know why, but I believe it's a city called West something. Are you talking about the city of Westmarch? Yeah. Then I saw the city burning as I was put in a lake or a river. A fast flowing one to get me away. But I also saw the guy that poisoned me. But it wasn't one of them, it was two of them. Then I saw Mamma Mia. It's almost as if I was actually seeing it through other people's eyes. Literally. Or their point of view. I saw my mother and my father. Then I saw the point of view from the agents of death. Almost like they were trying to protect me for like no good reason. Then they said, somebody protect our son. I think two agents of death are my parents. Wait, the two agents of death that were going to try and kill you as an infant were your parents? Yes, they were. They have to be. Why would anybody else say, please, someone save our son? That is a good question. If this Garrel guy, as he's called, could control and take people, bend into his will, then that means he must have done the same thing to your parents. Through a magic item or something. I don't know. I seriously don't know. I'm trying to piece it all together, but I need a lot more information to piece it together. I believe it's all my memories that I somehow have of my mum and dad. Not only that, I might even know bits and pieces of their own pasts, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't. Well, you can't think, can you? No, I can't. It's almost like my memories are being blocked. Belle, I think it's time I told you some things. You know the child you saved when you were around about 5? Around about 8 to 9? Girl with blonde hair? As Belle would just say, partially. Can't remember her fully. But I do remember that she was being bullied by other children due to her having only one drive: revenge for something that she could not control. That's right. Do you want to know what happened to her? Miss Bell just shakes his head, saying, no, I don't want to know what happened to her. As Eyes would just say, well, I'm going to tell you anyway. The girl you saved from those bullies, she moved on with her life. She dropped the axe of revenge. Do you remember the one thing you told her as a child? As Ben would just say, out of the blue, what's the point of revenge when they wouldn't want you to seek it? Wait, how did I remember? How do I even know that? Or even better yet, how do I remember it? Eyes, do you know something I don't? His eyes would actually pull out the image again, but this time with the hair actually revealed, while the face is still covered. Wait, blonde hair. That's right, Belle. Now, I've got another image of you and this girl, but it's with her face revealed. I will not show you it because I want you to start pointing things together again. The reason why you can't remember anything from your past is because of your memories being blocked. It must have something to do with your parents' past as well. As Belle would get a flashback of two children fighting. One saying, I want to be a peacekeeper, and you want to be a pathetic warden. As as the boy would just say, there are girls who are wardens too. Pity there aren't any men who want to be peacekeepers. With Bell grabbing his head, sort of backing off, saying, oh, what the hell was that? With Eyes actually walking over to him and putting a hand on his shoulder, As she asked, what? What was what? Belle would just say, oh, I think I just had another flashback of my parents. I think they they decided when they were children to become warriors of a sort. One called peacekeeper, the other called warden. I know very little from my past, but I know my father was called the Lord Warden. I don't know what kind of rank that is, but it must be something special. As Eyes would say, alright, so that's what happened. So you know that it's something to do with your family's memories. Not just your own, but your family in general. So let's start off with this. You remembered what you said to that girl. Do you remember her face? As Bell would shake his head, saying no. Blonde hair. As you showed me, she had blonde hair, but what's her eyes? Wait. Her eyes. They're a goldish yellowish colour. Oh, how am I remembering these things? What does the rest of her facial structure look like? We were kids back then. I never got a name. At least, I don't think I did. She had golden coloured eyes. Well, dark golden coloured eyes. She also... Her facial features were very firm. Smooth and firm, but underneath all that was a very rocky surface. She covered herself constantly, trying to make herself look tougher than she was. She wanted people to acknowledge her as a strong, independent person, but could never get the respect she deserved. Eyes. Wait. Eyes. Eyes. Eyes Wallenstein. But, I wish I could remember her name. You almost got it, Belle. Keep on pushing yourself. You'll remember it. As Belle would close his eyes, well, Eyes Wallenstein would actually put a hand on another picture, not saying where it is, and she would pull it out. Well, slowly start pulling it out, hoping that he would actually get the name of the girl who he met all those years ago. As he would eventually say, oh, my damn memories. Why can't I remember her name? His eyes would quickly let go of the picture, stuffing it back to where it needs to be, and she would just sigh, saying, we'll give it a try next week. Go and get yourself something to eat. As he would just nod, saying, yeah, and I need to go and sit down. So he would actually go and sit down. Revise is in a monologue saying, damn it! So close. Damn. I can't force his memories back. He has to relive the memories. Perhaps Grisha could... No. Hermes? No, he can't do anything. Can't ask Loki because God, his Hestia hates me talking to Loki. Can't ask Ishtar. Ugh, don't want to go there again. Who's good at memory? Who's good at finding memories? I'll ask Hermes to see if he can give me a hand. But first I need to find him. Or you could just turn around and see that I'm here. With eyes actually spinning around after jumping, well, jumps and turns around, and she sees Hermes as he just pulled down his hat, saying, "Calm down. I'm not here to rob you. I heard my name getting called from a mile away. So, over here for a bit. We'll talk over here." As they walk to the opposite end where a pillar is, or where one of the links is in the wall, as they both start talking, with Bell still rubbing his head, saying, "Why can't I remember her name? Sure to God, how come I'm getting these slight images of her? Golden hair, dark golden eyes. Socially awkward, too. Always had a mad blush when I was near her. Just for giving her advice. Oh, how come I can't remember her name?" As well, he would just take something to drink. As well, a few minutes later, an hour later, I should really say, Eyes and Hermes return. With Hermes saying, "Bell, my boy." As Bell would look up, saying, "I ain't your boys. I ain't your boy. Calm down, it's just a figure of speech. Bell, could you please stand up?" As Bell would struggle to stand up, as Eyes would actually help him along with Hermes. As Hermes would then put his hands on the side of Bell's head, as Bell would say, "What are you doing?" As Eyes would grab his arms and put them behind his back. As it would actually hurt, as he would just shout, saying, "Ow! Eyes! What are you doing?" As she would just say, "Shut up and focus on Hermes." As Hermes, I don't know if he has this ability, but screw it, I'm giving it to him anyway. As Hermes would actually drag all three of them into Bell's mindscape. As Eyes, Bell, and Hermes would all go through Bell's memories for a certain point. As they actually see Bell's parents, watch their lives, watch them grow up, watch them become a peacekeeper and a warden. As well, they also saw Bell's mother's nickname, Bell's mother get called a nickname, as they also see Bell's father just keep the word of warden. As they also see they don't really see the combat between Bell's father and mother with Garrel. But they do see Hammer and Bell fighting a agent of death years later in the future, but constantly skipping out Bell's childhood. As Hermes then rewinds Bell's memories back to where his parents were children, then going forward trying to break Bell's mind with this certain memory that they're trying to piece together. with Belle's with Belle just being in very big agony as it hurts a lot. As they eventually, after 5 whole hours, they eventually cracked it. As they come out of Belle's mindscape, due to Hermes using up a lot of Arcanum just to try and restore some of the memories. As Belle sort of starts screaming in pain, as Eyes lets go of his arms as he sort of falls back. As Hermes grabs his arms, grabs one of his arms, along with Eyes grabbing the other one, which is unfortunately the one that he got stabbed in, as she accidentally dislocates his entire arm again. As he sort of screams in pain again, saying, "Jesus H. Christ! Eyes! You just dislocated my arm from its socket!" As Eyes sort of says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to," as she yank his arm back in again. As you would hear a massive crack, or a massive pop of it going back into its socket. With Belle just sighing, saying, "Well, why did you do that for?" As I just simply said, I wanted a theory to be done. As Hermes would say, yeah, a theory. It wasn't a theory, it was never practiced before. It's more like a test. A test that only a god could do. And this god is all tuckered out. So I'm going somewhere else and going to get some sleep. Jesus, this took a lot of energy. As he would walk away. With Belle rubbing his head, saying, "Girl, whatever you did, I think I can see her properly now. Blonde hair. Dark golden coloured eyes. Skin. Purest of intentions, but seeking revenge all the time. I went to tell her something. Saved her from bullies as well. I told her, what's the point of revenge if your parents never wanted you to find it or seek it? But ever since then, my memory was fuzzy at best. Then, a year later, before I went to a different school, I got her name. It was you, Eyes. You're the girl I met." As Eyes, pulls the image out of somewhere, as Belle would just sort of say, "I did not want to know that you were hiding a picture there with those eyes." And she would just say, "And? Does it look like I cared a minute, Belle?" As she would pass him the image, as he would look at it, and she would say, "Me and you spent some time within a field together. A field full of roses. And that field is not too far away from here. So, does that remind you of anything?" As Belle would just say, "But why would I suddenly cut off that memory? Honestly, Belle, don't know. You're the one who severed the memory completely, like it was nothing for you. But why? Eyes, why would I cut off a memory like this? It's part of my childhood. But ever since I cut that off, my life has been hazy at best. As, well, certain parts of Belle's eyes start going a different colour. Slowly. It's not very noticeable, but eyes did notice. As, well, that's actually where I'm going to leave it off, guys. Because I can't think of anything more at this time. And if I go too far, this will be 2 hours long. So, if you like, comment, and subscribe. See you all in the next one. The next one will be What If Belle Was Part of the Shia Ryu? And, yeah, see ya. Peace.